Hello, welcome to the Art of the Oracle. We have a grouping of 3 decks of cards to read from today. We're using the Wild Unknown Archetypes by Krans. This is really deep information. We have really gone into some deep stuff this week. So I'm really excited to see where we go from here. We also have the Spirit Animal Oracle, and then we have White Sage Tarot. So I always have an Oracle deck and a Tarot deck because I like the combination. Tarot, if you're familiar with it, you probably already know this, but Tarot is a traditional deck and it stays basically the same, right? There's different interpretations of how people read it and what we see depending on what the creation of images have been put together on each tarot card, but they have an underlining message that is pretty standard in reading tarot. So I like to do that. I like that generally because it solidifies and makes sense of kind of day-to-day things. But the Oracle decks, when we're reading them, are bringing a particular feeling into each reading. And when I chose the archetypes, I was really feeling that we were going through some big something, some big shift, some big awareness, like something in our life was changing, or something that really wanted attention. So the archetypes really are what they are aspects of the self, and they bring in aspects of like personalities or places, or one of these series of cards is called Initiation. So it's bringing themes that go through everybody's life. So when you're looking at the cards, please take what resonates and leave the rest. Because these cards are so clunky, I'm just going to hold them and say thank you to everyone that's here watching now and in the future, because your energy is being included here as I draw. So I ask what we most need to see here in this very moment with the cards. Okay. The Medallions. I have never even seen this card, probably since I first got it. And I'm kind of feeling the Destroyer, but I'm not sure why. Okay. So we're gonna go there. Typically I draw differently, but yeah, I was feeling those 2 cards. So the Medallion, this is card 59, and then this is card 23. So we have 59 and 23. And the main thing that I notice is it's kind of like what we saw yesterday. We were seeing these black and white and these talking a little bit about this balancing, right, of this dark and light. And so I kind of see the exact same thing. So I see this shadow, the Destroyer, is the inversion of this, because this is going into the light, this is going into the dark. We have these gold symbols that are carrying us in both directions, right? No matter which way we're looking at it. So that's the first thing that I noticed. Now, when we have card 59, it's going to reduce to 14, which is going to reduce to 5. And we have 23, which is 2 and 3, which reduces down to 5, which means some really big aspect of change. And interesting, here we have the human hand that is reaching towards something. And then this kind of feels like that animalistic side. And we did have the animal that came out one day during the week. So with that being said, let's dive in, because the first one comes under the Medallion as being a tool. So that's another aspect of what these cards are. So if you haven't ever, if you're looking for a fun deck, this is very intense, and Krans does such a beautiful job by helping us to understand what does this mean for us. So the Medallion can be also considered the talisman. And a lot of times they're, sacred amulets, or they're heirlooms that have been passed down, and which is probably the reason why we have this. And as we know, all of those things carry a very interesting energetic signature with them. So I'm going to read what the guidebook says here. It says the passing on of sacred objects is an ancient ritual within families, between lovers, and in tribes across the globe. We give jewels, treasures, keepsakes, and mementos of all kinds. Some of great material value, others that hold emotional resonance, and still others with both. Yet, when these gifts are bestowed upon us, it is important to recognize that they may bind us to an unspoken agreement or promise, like a wedding ring, right? And that's a spoken agreement, but it's also like you are taking something, you know, with the intention of holding some person or some belief sacred. So the medallion card appears, when the medallion card appears, beware of how the objects you hold dear may be embedded with unconscious energy or expectations. Materials hold consciousness, and it's time to reconcile the vibration of the objects around you. What do you covet and collect, and why? Is there an object you have held on for years that you're ready to release? Perhaps it is time to reach for the medallion that aligns with your deepest values. So I'm going to add just a personal, like I always do, a personal thought on this is I was in meditation and I heard very clearly that I needed to get rid of stuff. And as I was releasing things that were around me, and I still have more to do, despite the fact that I have literally gone from one house into a house that's half the size. And I thought that I got rid of everything. But when I was going through, I realized that it's very easy to start accumulating things again. You love it, it's a spur of the moment. Or I had things that had been gifts and things that were given to me as well. And then that's where, you know, the rub can be. Like, do I feel like you don't want to ever offend anybody or hurt anybody? And what does it mean that you don't want it anymore? That, you know, it doesn't mean that you no longer love the person. It just means that this isn't resonating with you anymore. And I think that that's what this is talking about. So that's one thing that I wanted to share with you. The other thing is I have, you know, if you've been here on the channel, that I have talked about the stuff that I do in working with biofield tuning and Reiki, and I'm working with the roses. And it's all about energy signatures and what do the cards hold, the energy that the cards hold, the energy that the crystals hold, the things that you're seeing in your day-to-day life. When you bring them into your environment, you are bringing in energy from everything. And I have a lot of crystals here that we bring out, and they, you know, I changed them up this week. And I just recently tuned my physical place where I sleep. Not just the room, but the items in the room. I walked around because I was feeling like it needed something. I was like, why am I feeling like this? But I really felt like I needed to clear away something in that room where I sleep. And part of what this clearing away, what I heard in my meditation, was the clearing away to help bring in something else that is wanting to come into your life. But you need to kind of release some of these things that are cluttering up your life. And so I've been going through closets and, you know, under beds and asking, do I really want this book that I've held on for a while, or whatever it is, right? And these things that people have given me. So that's what this is asking you to do, is to really look at the things that you're holding on to, because you're creating a signature frequency within your home. And that's where you spend most of your time, because you're going to go to sleep there at night. And when you leave work, you're going to go there. And some people work from home. And so let's find out what the second card, which seems like the opposite of this. So this destroyer is a part of ourselves. And we all have aspects within us that, you know, like we destroy relationships, or we, whatever, you fill in the blank. Like we've had moments where we feel like, wow, I really did a number on that, or that was interesting. So the destroyer is also the savage, the unexpected, and the rejected. And we have probably parts of ourselves that fall in that category. The destroyer, the final of the three archetypes in the trio of existence. And I don't know what those trio of existence are. Let's see. Okay, it's the creator. That makes sense. It's the opposite of the creator. So it's the creator, the destroyer, and the sustainer. Okay, so that makes sense if you see it. Like in the initials, like the magician, right? You're creating something. The destroyer is how you're tearing something down. And the sustainer is how you're keeping and maintaining the thing that you have, obviously. So the destroyer, the final part of the 3 archetypes in the trio, has necessary yet painful work to do in the world. Culturally, we have an aversion to endings, and we hang on to permanence or things that no longer are serving us as a signifier of some sort of success, or sometimes we don't want to let go of something because we're afraid to let it go because the memory of something, we're afraid to lose it. So yeah, the destroyer pulls the rug out from underneath relationships, jobs, homes, and all forms of security. It's the part of us that wants things to end. Its painful orientation is to uncover our true purpose. The destroyer does not let us linger long in comforts, as it knows not much happiness in that realm. With its piercing eyes, here, these like wolf eyes, it seeks out stagnancy from a distance, and the rest becomes history. In the old myths, this is the moment when heads begin to roll, the grounds open up, and castles crumble. Hold on for the ride. The destroyer has arrived. So I find that extremely interesting. So I've been feeling like a major shift is happening, and I literally had like a small hole open up in my backyard. And I heard this thing like it's time to let go. So despite the fact that when the destroyer came out, I was like, ooh, do I want that card? Because it feels a little ominous. It is here for purpose, like it was saying, that sometimes we get a little bit too comfortable, and that time is over. Now, look at these 2 cards that are coming out here. 62 is the turtle, which reduces to 8, which shows that our sacred connection with everything. And it says slow and steady wins the race. And then we have the elephant, which reduces 2 and 5 to 7 around the choices and options. And it's asking us to learn something from the past. So I'm finding a little bit of conflict between these 2, but they're both very ancient beings that are here on the planet. And this one resides both in the waters and land. And this one this is a very small, obviously, and this is a very big creature. But they both have a deep connection to the earth. And this sacred geometry that's held here, and the sacredness of what we all know about the elephant, and as it lives for such a long time and has a deep sense of self and memory. So part of me thinks that the reason why these came out is because it has this purpose and memory. And sometimes we get lost in our things instead of why we were here. Why are we here? Which is another, I'm just kind of getting an aha moment. That's part of the reason why I've been asked to get rid of things from my house, is that it's time to let these things go. It's time to move into why you're here instead of the comforts and the things, because it gets confusing when your house is cluttered. Anybody that's lived in a cluttered house or a cluttered space for a while, or something that's too small, knows that feeling. So the turtle spirit arrives let's see what it says. Turtle's spirit arrives to remind you that when you do what you need to do, putting one foot in front of the other and trusting, that was part of our message from yesterday, that you will see your intentions manifest in perfect timing. Your prosperity, love, everything will grow exponentially. And now is that time. So it's not time to rush, but it's time to move ahead slowly, but to keep moving. It can also kind of signify, if you've been doing things really quickly, that it's time to kind of slow down and not rush through something, because in rushing we sometimes miss things. So it says that this is a memory-based creature, and I think the reason why it's coming out is to remind us that what these previous cards are saying is that there's a frequency, there's an intention, there's bonds and things that we have created, and to remember what's going on and to honor the ones that we feel that are still true to us, and to release the ones that are not. Okay, so we have the Page of Wands here, and this is the energy that asks you to look at what are your intentions in this world are. The wands are on our creativity, our movement forward. And it's interesting that it comes right next to the turtle. It's saying to slow down that movement forward. and really go with intention, which is what this elephant is all about. Because it's saying it's time. And we have the Knight of Pentacles, which came out also earlier in the week. Again, this is truly about movement. This is a little bit of a younger energy, and it's a fire sign, where this one is an earth sign, which we have double elephant coming out here, right here. And I'm really feeling like there's an ancient memory that is coming. So there's like something that has been hidden might be revealed this week or in the coming days as we're rounding out July, to remind us of what our connections have been. What is the purpose of why we're here? That's what this reading is starting to unfold. Okay, so I said something about the Magician earlier, and then we have the Ace of Pentacles. So it's saying to take the tools that you have and to begin again. So we have 2 ones here, these aces. It's telling us to move forward with our intuitive self as one of the tools. And it's interesting because it's reminding me back to these tools. So when we hold on to things and they're not really giving us anything, we forget. Because I was doing that as I was going through things in my house. I was like, wow, I forgot I had that. And so this is saying that there are certain tools that are going to be helpful through your entire life. And there's an opportunity here for you to begin anew, for you to clear out the clutter, for you to get rid of the things that aren't the things that don't matter, and then to see the things that you have held on to and ask yourself, are they still purposeful in your life? And you can move at this pace with intention, because this is the memory of where we've been and why we're here. And these younger like Page and Knight energy that's coming through, this around the fire, and this is the earth. It's like the earth wants to, fire really, either, you've heard people say, you know, put a fire under it because you need action. That's what the page is about. It's about creating action. It's a youthful energy. So it's a new kind of awareness that's coming in. You can see even from the look on the bird's face that it's not an old bird, it's a young bird. And then the elephant, this is also seems like a younger elephant, because it's the night energy. But the night moves forward slower of all, it's the slowest of all nights, and it moves with intention, which is what this is really amplifying, the need for intention. Look at the things that we have. It's time to move into our full sense of magic and begin again. What is it that we want to create? Why are we here? What are we doing? Clean out some of this old stuff that doesn't matter. Thank you so much for joining me here at the channel. I hope you enjoyed the message, and I look forward to reading for you on tomorrow for the final Friday message of this week. Until then, have a magical day. Bye now.